Hello, my convicts and convict catchers. The designer of convict being you guys and gals in the video. So here we are with said video. So Desert asked very kindly, could I do a tutorial on the thing down here, which is basically fan control. I'll open it and show you what it looks like. This is fan control here. So basically what this program does is it allows you to set up all your fans and have different temperatures for every part of your system, your computer, whatever it is that you're wanting to keep cooled or control the cooling for. You can actually do it from here, and it's really simple and easy to do. So we're going to go through it now, and I'm going to explain to you how to set it up, and then obviously we can get underway. So first of all, what you need to do is if you go over to the browser that you normally use, I will link this in the description so you don't need to do it. If you want to check it for yourself, just put fan control and you'll get something that comes up as fan control releases. And this is the site where you go to. And fan control's here, and all you need to do is get the code, and you'll get two options. You'll get the GitHub version, or you'll get the download zip version. I always chose the download zip version. So you just click on it, and it'll start to download a zip file, which you can see in the top right here. That's downloading now. Once that's completed, as you can see, it's very, very quick to do. You click on the folder icon, it'll take you here. You just right click and then go to where it says extract all. You don't need WinZip or anything like that. Just right click. There was already a built-in unzip file in Windows 11, and then just extract all. Once you've clicked extract all, it'll ask you where to put it. You'll extract, and then it'll send it to that specific location. I'm not going to do it because I've already done it, but you just do that, and then you'll be able to go directly to the folder, and it'll be in your downloads, and it will say fan control, and it will not be zipped up. It'll be just a normal file folder like this. Mine is actually in a different file. Mine's down here in F, if I remember correctly. Is it fan control or is it E? I always forget where I put it. There it is. Fan control releases master, as you can see here. Once you've gone and you've started it up and you've basically done that, it will actually bring this up. It may ask you to do a assisted startup at the beginning, which you want to do. If you bypass that, all you need to do is go to this cogwheel, click setup, and it says assisted setup. When you click here, you can see what it says. This assisted setup is to help configure your fans for the first time with the following steps. Select the type of sensors to detect, find corresponding RPM sensor for each control, find the start for each control, the stop for each control, assist you identifying and naming each control, and then set up some application settings. So all you need to do is press yes to continue, and it'll take you through the whole setup. You can press no if you want to, and then just basically put in the things. But I recommend you put yes, because otherwise you'd have to do like each individual fan. You want it to find all these fans for you, and it'll basically make sure that the fans are working, and you can then find out what the fans are. So if you have front case fans, you could go and say, okay, I've got front case fans, and this is the water cooled fan, and you can name them individually so you know exactly which ones they are. I'm going to put no for now because obviously I've already got these up, but you want to follow that so it will populate all these fans here, and you can see these fans are spinning and do have a percentage next to them, so that means that they're actually doing something. When you first get them on, they may be in this position. You just want to turn it on like so and make sure that the fan is on so that it's spinning. Once you've done that, you'll have nothing else on here. You might have, I don't think it populates anything else like these on here. All you basically do is once you've got this sorted and you've got the fans already started and everything, is go here to the plus icon at the bottom right. Press the plus icon, and then you want to go to where it says add graph fan curve, and that's what these two are. As you can see here, you can see the icon, what it looks like in the bottom right corner here, and then on the actual device itself you'll also see the image of what it looks like. So you can find it easily enough by the image, because the image represents exactly what it is, which they're two graphs, and you can see that this one is slightly different because it's a mix. So you want to populate two graphs, and to do that, like I said, just press the plus, go to where it says graph, click on graph, and you'll get an empty graph like this. Then you can name it whatever you want to name it. I'm just going to call it test. And then you go to the temperature source and you then find out what the temperature source is. Now, for CPU, generally there's two ways it does it. Either it'll say just the CPU itself, and it won't give you like all these individual ones like average, max, tidal, T-die, and all that. I generally use the core here for the 5950X, and that gives you the core temperature, and that's the one that I use on here. If you just got one that just says like I think my other one, my 2600, I think it was, that one just said 2600. It didn't really have all these multiple choice ones. So you just choose the one or just choose the core one on there. If you're wanting GPU, obviously you just choose your GPU. And as you can see, I've only got one for GPU. These are the motherboard temperatures. These are the SSDs. This is the Evo SSD because it's got different sensors on it. And then that is my normal mechanical drive. And then I've got two SSD drives as well in the computer. And that's what all these temperatures are for. So the main one you want to focus on is your CPU and your GPU one. Once you've got them up, then you've named them like this, GPU and CPU. And you've chosen the name for them and you've gone, okay, that's the one for the CPU. That's the one for the GPU. Then we can move on to the next stage. So I'm going to delete this one for now because we don't need it. Then you want to create one called mix. So go back to the plus sign and you want to go here to add mix fan curve. Click on that and that will create this. Then all you need to do is name it. I name it mix. The reason why I name it mix is because as you can see here, each one is called mix underneath. You want the function to be max. You want to add a fan curve. And then you want to choose which fan you're doing it. Because obviously once you've named these ones, they will appear here. And then you've got the mix one here. So you want to choose which ones you want to use. Now, if you're wanting to do it the way I'm doing it, where it basically has GPU and CPU, and depending on what's temperature is higher, then the fans will speed up on that specific area, but it may turn on all the other fans in the case as well in order to keep both items cool. So you kind of get this fluctuating kind of race of if that's a bit higher, then the CPU fans will turn up higher. That one will turn up the GPU fans a bit higher. Or in my case, like I said, it turns up both at the same time in order to keep them both equally as cool, and obviously helps to cool the other parts of the computer as well at the same time if there's anything else getting hot, such as like the NVMe drive, the Evo, that's inside the computer. So in order to do that, all you do is, like I said, click on the curve, put CPU temp, click on the curve, put GPU temp, and you'll get these two that'll pop up like this. And you can cancel them off if you want by pressing the X's here. And that's all you need to do for the mix. So once you've done that, you can then go through each of the fans and just go on here and click mix. Or if you're wanting specific fans to work for specific reasons, then you can obviously choose GPU. So it's completely up to you how you want it, if you want it to be separate or if you want them to be combined. I've just chose mix for all of them, so they all do the same thing at the same time. And then what we need to do now is go to these two and we want to set them up. So go to edit. And this is how it looks. So the first thing you want to do is you want to select the one that you're using. Obviously, it should be on the right one anyway, which is the core. And then you want to choose the temperatures and the select point. Ignore these two. These should be already done. The min and max temp should be already done as well, so you don't need to touch them. But if they are different, you can copy them if you wish to, which is 20 and 100. That one I wouldn't touch because that one should set up automatically. These should be sorted when you've done the assisted help. So I would probably just leave them as they are. The only thing you want to start doing is messing about with this graph here. So you want to start off with the first one set to whatever temperature you want it at. And then you want to click anywhere on this line and you'll notice I've created another dot. I'm going to delete that one because I don't want it on there. Right click on it and it'll delete it. So left click to make it appear, right click to make it disappear. Then all you need to do is just move them around and put them where you want them. And then click, put the next one where you want it, click, put the next one where you want it, and so on and so forth till you've done all the temperatures. You could do as many as you want. You can completely do however you want to do it on here. That's up to you. And then that's it. That's all you need to do. So 40%, 37, 50.1, and they're just at the top, up the top there. You can see it's between 50 and 60 degrees. So you can see the percentages and the temperatures. And as you can see, I've made it so that once it hits just beyond 50, that it should be at full fan capacity, that the fan should be on full in order to keep it to around about 50 degrees, which it generally does. Now the 5950X itself does keep a much higher temperature than normal. It's usually, when you first put it on, it's usually around about 45 degrees when you first boot up your computer, and sometimes it can ramp up a little bit to 50, and that when it first boots up, it's normal. It's just the way that the 5950X is. It does run generally hot already, and that's just the way the 5950X is for the Ryzen. So that's it. And then the other thing you want to do is click on hysteresis, and you want it so it applies on the way down. What this basically means is when your fans ramp up, so they start getting hot and it starts going up here, and your fans are turning up the speed, because this is the speed percentage. When it starts getting, the temperature speed starts rising up, starts going faster and faster, then what will happen, it'll go, and then when it starts to come down, it'll go, that's how it will do it. But if you add on a hysteresis, like I've done here, of 5 seconds, it'll go, and then it'll go, it'll stay there for a little while. It gives it a chance to cool the system down, because you don't want it to go, because it's not helping to get rid of the excess heat within your case. You want to have the response time higher, so it takes longer for it to start to settle. That way then, at higher, hotter temperatures, the fans are still going to be on quite high in order to get rid of the excess heat, and then eventually it will then start to lower. So I've done it as 2 and 5, and I've done that for both CPU and GPU, so that it's going to run at the same 2 and 5 in order to keep the temperatures to where they are. So you want to probably pause it here and probably write these down or copy them. But it's very simple to do. Just left click. Whether you want, if you make a mistake, just right click that circle, it'll disappear. And like I said, just put them where I've put them here, and put this one around about just in between 30 and 40. And then you've got 36.9, 50, 50.1 roughly, and then 57.7. So just generally put them roughly around. They don't need to be exact spot on. And you can play around with these as much as you want. It's completely up to you how you want to do that in terms of obviously temperatures and everything. So once you've done that one, we can press OK. Go to GPU and go to edit. And I've done, like I said, roughly the same thing again for the GPU. The GPU does run a lot cooler. As you can see, I'm now on 35 degrees, and when I'm not in game. And it's never gone past around 60, 70 is generally the highest it goes. And that's generally goes a bit higher when I'm using OBS. Generally, it'll stay about 50 or 60. It'll not go above that with even very high intensive games. But I am just running a 3060. Obviously, the higher the GPU, the more it's going to obviously generate heat. So just be aware of that. Again, put as many of these in you want as you want to add on here. So we've got 20.1, 30.8, 44, around 58.7, and then the last one up at the top here, which is not showing in degrees temperature, which is around about 80.4-ish. And that's it. You can play it around. These are just basic examples as well. These are just where I've put them at the moment. I might change these in the future, but for now, I'm kind of happy where they are. I'm kind of happy. I'm kind of tempted to put that one there, to be honest, and have that about there. Generally speaking, though, it does keep pretty cool. Generally, it's not a problem from where it is. What I will probably do is look at your base temps when you're not running any programs in the background and kind of find out where your base temperature is, which mine's at 35. So you could probably lower this down to around about maybe just a bit above 35. As you can see, as I move this down, I can move it up and down, and it's changing this percentage here, which is why I said you don't really need to touch these two, because when you're moving it up and down, as you can see, it's moving the temperature percentage here. So I could probably put this to where it needs to be. So maybe make this like 37, like so. And just leave that one at that, and just leave it however. Again, put a hysteresis on. Again, same thing. When it's ramping up, you want it to ramp up fast, but you want it to gradually come down. Don't go up and then down, up, then down. You want it to go up and then gently start to come down as it's releasing all the rest of the excess heat in the system, and then put OK. And that's it. That's all it is. It's as simple as that. And then just make sure that once you've done this and you've completed it, that you go over there and you save configuration. You can load configurations. You can check sensor settings. There's an error report log, copy report, check for updates. Generally, when you start up your system, it won't give you an update. But if you quickly go onto it, when you boot up the program for the first time, sometimes it'll pop up. It'll give you like a pop-up and say, oh, there's an update. And then you can do that. Or you can just go in here and you can just check for update. And you can see mine is the most up-to-date already. And then once you found what you want, just go to save configuration and it'll save that file. As you can see, it's called userconfig.json. What that basically means then is if you come back to the bottom and go back to where your fans are, which is just behind me here. You can see it says configuration. And you've got version JSON, or you've got user config, which is one that I've just created. And all it is, it's that little tab. If I move myself out of the way, come on me, let me put you in the center maybe here for now. So again, just to show you, once you've loaded it up, it will actually show here in the taskbar at the bottom, as you can see. So you press this little arrow, pops up, you can see it, right click, and then you can either go to configurations or open. Configurations, you can choose between any saved configurations you've chosen to save. Like I've just saved that one user config.json, and then you can click open and that'll just open up like this and it'll show it like this. So you can actually physically see what it looks like. And that's it. So like I said, all you need to do to start off with is just go over to the cog first. If you want to tick any of these, or if yours looks any different, then by all means feel free to add these on as well. Columns, show hidden cards, hide fan speed cards, start minimized, start with windows, the delay, you can change appearance. I do recommend donating to this person as well, Remy Mercier, as well, if you can donate, even if it's just $1 or £1, something, you know, everything goes towards helping this person to continue to improve and update. So I definitely recommend. There is an official website here as well, and there's a repo for fan control, some other stuff you can do here as well if you need any extra help or support or anything like that. And yeah, that's more or less all you need to do. So just, like I said, click the cog. First start with the assisted setup, and then follow it through. Do this, put yes, let it do what it needs to do, and then you should be good. So if I, actually what we'll do, we'll do it here. So if I press yes, and then you could choose the sources, 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 Oh, so it says here you can nickname them as well. This is new. This bit's new. I've not seen this before, but it's plugins here. There's name the sensor. You can actually name your sensors. Choose your sources here. I've just got them all ticked, as you can see. That's what it should be as default because I've not done anything to these. There is a NVIDIA 0% hardware curve override, but I don't know what that is, so I wouldn't recommend it. And you've got plugins that you can add here as well, which I've got no plugins added on. So once you've got them all ticked, you just put OK. And you'll see that my utility will start to identify the fans. So it's setting every fan to 60%. Now it's testing each fan. So mine's going to come up and say there's no sensor, because basically mine's actually connected to a control box. It's not actually plugged into the motherboard itself. Mine's actually connected to, it's like a little box. You put the fans into the box, and then the fan has like a, the box has a little wire that's got a, like a SATA connector thing at the end, and you just plug it into the SATA port on your motherboard, and that controls all the speeds of the fans. That's why mine's not saying sensors. So now what it's going to do is going to try and stop the fans. Again, my fans won't respond because, again, they're not connected to the motherboard itself. They're connected to a controller. But the controller is controlled by this program as well. As you can see, it's doing control for the NVIDIA, testing the fans as well. There you go. It stopped the fans for the NVIDIA. There you go. So you can now identify the fans and call them whatever you want. So this is like NVIDIA fan 1, fan 2. And then just choose the same as what I've done here. I'm not going to hide the redundant ones. Actually, no, I'll leave it as what it was and then put OK. There you go. Because the fans were not picked up by the computer, obviously it's disregarding them and it's put them in the background here. If you've got them connected to the motherboard, it will pick them up. It is something I've kind of thought to myself, maybe in the future I might change this and actually have these connected to the actual motherboard itself. It's just at the moment I've not done that. Maybe in the future I will decide to do that. But for now, I'm kind of happy with the way it is. And I don't really mind. If you just go and click on each one, you can unhide them as well. And as you can see, they're all working. The temperatures are working. The speeds are working. And they do ramp up. I've double checked and made sure. So the program does work with the actual controller on the computer itself. And everything seems to speed up and slow down when needed. So I'm quite happy with the way it is at the moment. But I do recommend having the sensors plugged into the motherboard if you can. If you can do that. But there you go. That's it. That's all you need to do. It's really, really simple and easy. Once you've done that, you'll be good to go. And then just make sure, like I said, you've got the correct things identified and just choose whichever one is for your CPU or choose core, like I've done there. And then obviously just add the second for the GPU, follow along again, which I'll just quickly show you again. You may want to pause it. Okay, so that's that one. That is that one. Again, pause it if you need to. And that's it. And like I said, this one is just literally name it mix, put it as max function, add fan curves, choose CPU, add fan curve, choose GPU, which will add these two here. Make sure that whatever you name it here is then put in each curve on here. And then, like I said, if you want to, say for instance, have your GPU separated from the other case fans, then you can do so. You just need to put these on the GPU instead. And then it'll only obviously go based on GPU. And that's as simple as that. But if you put them on mix like this and add a mix function here, and like I said, whatever's higher in your computer will be prioritized. Like in a moment, if I go over this one, it's got 47%, which is obviously the CPU. So the CPU is above the GPU. So the fans will speed up to obviously help out the CPU temperatures, and the GPU will speed up as well if need be. And they'll both keep each other cool. And then there'll be like this kind of race then of whichever goes above the other one will then get the extra leg support that it needs in order to do what it needs to do. And just make sure that you click here and you save configuration or load configuration, however you want to do that. So that's it really. That's all you need to do. I do need to learn a bit more about it, but that's basically how I've set it up at the moment, and it seems to work okay. Not had any problems. I do recommend, however, having the sensors on the motherboard, not in probably a controller if you can, because the controller, as good as what they are, and it does work because I've got a really big block. I've got a water cooling on my CPU, and then obviously the others are fans that are the case fans, and I've got 3 fans at the front, 2 fans at the top is how mine is, and then 1 at the back for an exhaust, and that's how mine's set up. And there we go, that's all it is. It's simple as that. So just do the assisted setup. That should basically do it all for you. If you've got all your fans connected to your case, to the motherboard, you shouldn't have any problems. It should do everything for you, and it'll put it into the correct places. All you need to do then is just add these 3 afterwards. If it's not already added these, just add these 3 over here. Like I said, going over to plus, go to graph, add 2 graphs, and then add 1 mix curve, and then just follow these. But these should automatically already be put into place, and then you just call them whatever you want to call them. If you want to give them a specific name, you can do that. You can go onto each fan and click the dots here. You can do manual control. If you click manual control, you can actually manually control the fan speed and turn it up and down to figure out what that fan is for. So if you've got 3 fans in the front of your case and you click on here and you click on manual control, you could actually turn that fan all the way down to the bottom, and it should actually stop in your case. It should actually stop the fan, and it'll be stopped in your case, or it'll slow right down, and you'll be able to tell which fan it is. And then you can give it a specific name, which you could name it here and say front fan top, front fan middle, front fan bottom, top, back, top, front, and exhaust sort of thing. And you can like name it whatever you want to name it on there. Anyway, I'm going to leave it here. Hopefully that helped you out. It's very, very simple and easy to do. Unfortunately, I don't have an option to do anything like taking over people's computers or anything like that, so I won't be able to do that. But just follow the steps I've just given you. It's very, very easy to do. I'll link this program in the description below so you can find it, and that will definitely help out. And like I said, the only thing you really need to do, if anything, is just go here and put assisted setup. It automatically does it for you. In terms of all the fans. I don't know about these ones, but the fans, it will automatically set it up. It will test the fans. It runs the fans to find out what their what the sensors are and all that. It basically sets it up automatically for you. No help needed. And if anything, you just need to add these on at the end, and that is it. That's all you need to do. It literally does it for you. And like I said, if you ever want to find out in the future which one it is, just press these 3 dots, go to manual control, turn the fan down, find out which one it is, name it, and then go back to the dots and then untick the manual control. Simple as that. Excuse me. Right. And that's as simple as it is. That's all you need to do. Easy as that. And you can come back here and mess about with anything you want on this side, such as like appearance if you want it to be black. Maybe you don't like the white. And then come over here if you want to save, load, check for updates, all that good stuff. Or if you want to even close down the program. And then all you need to do when you've finished and you've saved, press the X. If you don't save, it will say, do you want to save? Just press save. And then it will go back to where it should be at the bottom here of the computer down here. Back to where it was before. And then you can just keep an eye out. Just press that little button, find out what your temperatures are, and it'll tell you what the temperatures are. Anyway, that is it. That's all that is needed. Simple as that. But yeah, I will apologize. I don't generally do that whole taking over computer thing. I don't have really the stuff to do it, and I'm not really that clued up on that kind of subject, and it's very difficult. It's one of those kind of things you've got to be really careful with, because if you're taking over someone else's computer, you just got to be aware that they can take over your computer. It's kind of like a two-way street. It's not something I generally would do myself personally, because I don't really have that enough knowledge, to want to try and do that. So just follow the tutorial. Very simple and easy to do, and you'll be good. You'll be good. And there's plenty of other tutorials on YouTube as well. But it's simple as that. Assisted setup will literally do it all. It's all of it for you. You don't really need to do anything. If anything, all you need to do is just add graphs and a mix at the end. And it's as simple as just following me step by step, pausing it, doing it step by step, putting it in the same places, and then just seeing how it works for you, and then just tweaking it a little bit if you feel like it ever is getting a little bit hotter. Maybe turn up the percentages a bit more at that certain temperature. But just know that when you're playing games or anything like that that is intensive, you're generally going to see temperatures around about 60 to 70 degrees, which is generally normal. It's generally, if it's hitting like 90 or going up in like 85 or something crazy, then that's where you kind of want to go, that's a bit high. You want to keep it away from that. But around 60 to 70 odd percent is generally a good place, especially if you're playing a high intensive game or you've got a game running at a high FPS. Just try and keep it as obviously a nice temperature to keep those FPS high and keep the performance up. And just make sure that the one main factor you should always have in your computer is a decent amount of cooling and a good airspace, plenty of space. Don't just put your case into an alcove or a cupboard, or put it into somewhere where it's got nowhere to breathe. You want to keep it out on the open, like I do. If I show you, I have mine on my desk right behind me. It's in a nice open space. There's nothing in the way of it. As long as you have it there, you'll be good. You'll be good to go. If you have it in a good spot, then it'll always keep cool and you'll have no issues. And then just make sure that your fans are obviously not clogged up. Make sure you clean your PC at least once a month. Give it a good blowout and make sure that it's nice and clean and clear. And you should be pretty good on that one. And there'll be no problems. So like I said, I'll link this in the description. So all you have to do is just basically click on it, come here, go to code, choose your poison. I normally choose download zip. Then obviously go to your downloads, then go to wherever it is, unzip it by pressing right click, and then just go to the assisted setup, and that will do it all for you. And if anything, you just need to add those 3 points that I just showed you on here, which is just basically CPU, GPU, and then put mix, and then add mix to each of the fans. If you do, however, get any fans that kind of come upgrade, it could be that you have a control box or some form of box inside your computer, which all the fans are connected to, which means that that is the one that controls the speeds of your fans. Well, as long as you connect it to a motherboard, it should help by obviously running it through that. It's just it wasn't picking up the sensors because the sensors aren't on the actual board, they're on that controller instead. But that is still something that's connected to the computer and can be controlled by this device as well. Anyway, hopefully that helps you out. Thank you very much. Don't forget, please like this video if you enjoy the video. It really does help to support the channel. Hit the notification bells if you want to be notified of other videos. Don't forget, if you're going to do that, to subscribe as well. And if you want to go that little bit step further and help support me, you can do by hitting the join, becoming one of my elite convicts or elite convicts for ladies. And it's just $1.99 a month. You get access to emotes. You'll get access to badges, priority in multiplayer games when I play with other people. We'll also do giveaways for Steam codes and stuff when we have enough people who have joined. And same for doing charity work as well. Once we get to enough people in the members, then we can definitely do that as well. We've only got like a small handful of people already who have joined. If you want to join them, like I said, it's the cheapest you probably get from most people on YouTube. It's just $1.99. That's all it is. And it helps to support me do what I do and obviously keep on doing these videos. Thank you very much. Appreciate you, and I will see you in another video. Bye for now.